LeBron James just made it onto the Forbes list. This is the first time ever in history that an active NBA player has made it on the Billionaires Forbes list. There is no dispute that LeBron James is one of the most dominant athletes in the history of basketball. Ever since he was a youngster, he has put in a tremendous amount of effort in order to attain the level of success and notoriety that he currently enjoys. So how did LeBron make it into the Forbes list? And how come, despite being a billionaire, he is still active in the NBA? After a successful career with the Cleveland Cavaliers, Miami Heat and Los Angeles Lakers, LeBron James is now one of the highest paid athletes in the world, having signed a 4-year contract with the Los Angeles Lakers for a total of $153 million. That makes him one of the highest paid sportsmen in the world. Because of his work and the various business sponsorships he has, the athlete now has a net worth of over $1 billion. It is not difficult to comprehend that LeBron James, the most decorated player in the history of the NBA, 18-time All-Star, 4-time NBA champion, and 2-time Olympic gold medalist, has accomplished something that no other player in the history of the NBA has done. After another monstrous year of profits, James's net worth has been rapidly piling up. James's earnings over the last year were $121.2 million after taxes and agents' fees. That's a lot, huh? In an interview with GQ in 2014, James made a prophetic statement by saying that being a billionaire was his biggest milestone. No wonder he has earned more than $385 million from the Cleveland Cavaliers, the Miami Heat, and the Los Angeles Lakers over his career in the NBA, making him the highest paid active player in the league. Off the court, his endorsement deals and other business endeavours have earned him well over $900 million. James's lavish lifestyle as a billionaire is characterised mostly by an extravagant real estate portfolio, accessories, luxury vacations with his family, and high-end automobiles. But before he became the most anticipated high school basketball prospect ever, James lived with a variety of family members, acquaintances, neighbours, and his coach. In 2003, when he was only 18 years old, he got his first deal with Nike. Prior to this, he had turned down substantial offers from Reebok and Adidas. In the latter half of 2015, he entered into a lifetime deal with Nike, under the terms of which the company would continue to pay him several millions of dollars each year for the rest of his life. Because of his endorsement deal with Nike, as well as deals with AT&T, PepsiCo and Walmart, he finished that previous year as the second highest paid athlete in the world. However, he is a traditional salesman, which is the primary reason for his billion-dollar income. Instead of receiving payment immediately, James will get shares in the companies with whom he collaborates as part of a long-term partnership agreement. And guess what? Surprisingly, in 2015, James walked away from an endorsement agreement with McDonald's that was worth $15 million so that he could make an investment in a fast-developing Blaze pizza firm, which he currently controls. And that's not all. He has financial stakes in businesses such as Tonal and Lyft. There is also Spring Hill, which is a production firm that James and his business partner Maverick Carter established in order to create projects for cinema. The enterprise was valued at $725 million when it was presented to outside investors, such as Fenway Sports Group and Epic Games, who contributed to the development of the $163 million in funding for the movie Space Jam and the documentary on HBO titled What's My Name? Muhammad Ali. So far, LeBron has a stake of $300 million in the company. And by the way, it is believed that James does not have an interest in owning a stake in the firm that is more than 50%, despite the fact that he is the company's largest single stakeholder. Interestingly, LeBron James has been quite outspoken about his aspiration to someday be the owner of an NBA team. Let's say he is heading in the right direction. No wonder. In 2011, James's sports marketing company collaborated with Fenway Sports Group to acquire a minority ownership stake in the English Premier League soccer team Liverpool FC. The two of them made a deal in which they exchanged their shares in Liverpool for a position in FSG. LeBron also owns a majority of shares in the Boston Red Sox and Fenway Park, as well as 50% of Roche Fenway Racing and 80% of the New England Sports Network. In addition, James controls the majority of the New England Sports Network. Nevertheless, FSG is expected to complete the purchase of the Pittsburgh Penguins of the National Hockey League for a projected price of $900 million. We can now all agree that James has been living like a billionaire for a significant amount of time now. But apart from business, you might be wondering what else he owns, which is luxurious. How does he enjoy his money? Well, he is the owner of 3 different properties, a total worth of which is around $80 million. He shelled over $10 million to purchase a home outside of Akron, Ohio, his hometown, where he had spent his formative years. And it gets better, as in 2017, he purchased an 8-bedroom property in Brentwood for the price of $23 million in Los Angeles. But that wasn't enough. Following the demolition of the Hilltop House in the 1930s, James invested $36.75 million in the construction of a new estate of his own. Later on, the Lakers star made headlines a few months into the epidemic when he purchased a Beverly Hills house with 13,000 square feet at a price of $36.8 million. The apartment had previously been occupied by Hugh Hefner and Katharine Hepburn, but it is rumoured that James purchased it from Lee Philip Bell, who is known for his work as the co-creator of the serial operas The Bold and the Beautiful and The Young and Restless. The home has 2 bathrooms, a screening room and a tennis court. It has also been outfitted with a whole wall of glass sliders, a number of skylights and an indoor fountain to facilitate the greatest possible movement of air between the internal and outside spaces. Apart from that, he is also a giver. In the month of December, the LeBron James Family Foundation made the purchase of the Tangier nightclub and event space with the intention of transforming it into a community centre and special events facility, as well as for street families living in Akron, Ohio. He also has a $30 million stake in Blaze Pizza. This is due to the fact that he has been a fervent fan of the company for many years, and during that time he has done everything from working behind the counter to passing out pies on the street to promote Blaze Pizza. We can understand why he's so pumped up about it, and since he invested almost $1 million in 2012 to purchase a 10% share in the pizza brand, more than 300 sites in the United States and Canada that are owned by the firm or are operated under franchise agreements have been opened. Interestingly, Forbes estimates that the value of James's portion of the Blaze franchise site operated by restaurateur Larry Levy in Florida and Illinois is more than $30 million. Even after taking into account the salaries of managers, agents and attorneys, as well as the other costs associated with being a superstar, Forbes believes that LeBron James has a cash and bank reserve that is greater than or equal to $100 million. A portion of this money comes from large deals, such as the $3 billion sales of Beats by Dre to Apple in 2014, which James co-founded with Arnold Schwarzenegger, and for which he was a spokesman and held a small portion of the company's equity. Another source of this money is James's share of his father's estate, which he inherited. Although LeBron James is a frugal billionaire, he does have a few luxury goods in his collection, from Louis Vuitton luggage to everything from Browns. He also spends a significant amount of money maintaining his collection of vintage and expensive autos. According to Celeb Answers, he presently has 15 automobiles that have a combined worth of more than $2 million. This fleet includes a Rolls-Royce, 2 Maybachs, a Porsche, and 4 Lamborghini Aventadors. If your annual earnings, including sponsorship, totaled more than $100 million, why wouldn't you own such a fleet? After all, $2 million is just a small piece of the pie. Anyway, what do you think of James's investment decisions? That's all from this video. See you in the next one.